Good afternoon. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. What's next for you? Visit cnext.bank for more. The exclusive banking partner of the Digital Weather Desk. The exclusive. Oh, welcome to your Thursday. It is cold and miserable outside. Rainy, chilly, breezy. It may be top 10 one of the worst days of the year, in my opinion. I know some folks hate the extreme heat. Some folks hate the extreme cold. I hate the mix of just miserably cold conditions and rainfall. In my mind, and I know a lot of folks would agree with this, why don't we just drop 10 more degrees, drop all of this as snowfall, take a couple of days off, nobody move anywhere, and just kind of enjoy it that way. But you can't even really guarantee that we get snowfall at 30 degrees in our area or at, 29 degrees. Sometimes it winds up as freezing rain, and then that turns into its own nightmare. So, again, the rain is beneficial. We showed the drought monitor this morning. It was on the too long, didn't read as well. I'm not going to show it to you today because we're going to jump right into the radar. Check out the radar products made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection at brownsroofingla.com. Shower activity has ramped back up across the area. When I mean ramped back up, it's increased in coverage. Most of this rain is fairly light. As you move across southern Arkansas, it is rainfall measurable finally in areas like Camden and Hampton where they kind of missed out on that first bout of rainfall that moved through the area this morning. One thing that you'll note, not a lot of lightning. It's just showers continuing to make its way, again, through a good chunk of southern Arkansas. Some slick spots on the roadways here and there. Exercise caution as you venture out and about this evening. Still hopeful that we can get most of this rain out before the Christmas parade later tonight. Again, that rolls at about 7. We've got some time to play with here. I know setup starts about 3 or 4 o'clock, but it looks like the heaviest rain's kind of setting up in the next couple of hours. Hopefully, we get things progressively more scattered as we work into the late afternoon and evening. As you shift a little bit farther southward into northern Louisiana, most of the rain, again, becomes fairly widespread, but it's generally light to moderate in nature. And then also kind of the same story as you move even farther southward. As you move east across the region, again, it's mainly patchy drizzle and light rain as folks along the Mississippi Valley kind of enjoy this brief break in the rainfall. But expect that patchy drizzle and light rain to eventually kind of transition back to more light, moderate rainfall as all of this rain moves eastward over the next couple of hours. Check our rainfall totals. So far today, these are radar estimated for the most part, so again, they are deemed unofficial and sometimes can be wildly inaccurate. Official rain totals usually come from surface observation sites and things of that nature. Wake up the other computer over here, and we'll take a look at some of the mesonet sites. Again, the Louisiana Mesonet's operated by the University of Louisiana Monroe. So far today, a little over a half an inch of rainfall in Monroe at ULM. Eris at about 9/10 of an inch of rainfall. Colfax approaching 1 inch of rainfall. Homer at about a third of an inch of rain. Sicily Island at 93/100ths. Jonesville at 91/100ths. Gina is right at an inch of rainfall. Jonesboro at 1.14. Columbia approaching 1 inch of rainfall. Lake Providence 9/100ths of an inch of rainfall. But then you go even farther southward. Winfield's at 1.67 inches of rain, so an inch and 2/3. And then like an area like Morganza, they're generally at 5 1/4 inches of rain. So again, farther south out of our area, the rain has been a little bit heavier and a little bit less manageable. But for us, again, it's been a pretty beneficial rain as the showers have picked back up here in Midtown Monroe. I can hear it on the roof. Janet says it's raining pretty steady in Crosset as well. Again, the grand scheme of things, this is all positive stuff. It's a cold rain, but in terms of the drought conditions and the prolonged dry pattern that we've been in, we need the slow-soaking, beneficial rainfall. It's pretty miserable outside, though, at least in the short term. 44 in Monroe, 37 in El Dorado, 48 in Natchez. They actually were in the low 50s through a good chunk of the morning, but the northeasterly winds have really kicked up this afternoon and have been quite breezy at times. Air's pretty much saturated, so there's not really any kind of window of opportunity for like much winter weather potential across southern Arkansas. Dew points are already above 32 degrees, so there's not really any opportunity to wet bulb down or bring temperatures down in any kind of other regard. Jennifer, good afternoon to you. Yeah, I hope everyone's staying warm and dry because Again, it's just gross outside. Winds are out of the northeast, generally in the 10 to 20 mile an hour range. Again, they've picked up a little bit in the last hour. So the apparent temperature, wind chill, feels like temperature, whatever you want to call it, when you combine that with the rainfall, feels like 35, 32 in El Dorado, 35 in Monroe, 32 in El Dorado, 36 in Bastrop. Ugh, not fun. Futurecasts made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 frontage road in Monroe. Side-by-sides, ATVs, dirt bikes, Honda and Yamaha. Honda and Yamaha. That was awesome. Just invented two completely different sports vehicle name brands. Anyway, rain should move out in a widespread regard as we go through the rest of the evening. By tomorrow morning, the big wild card in the forecast is going to be how much clearing we can see across generally the northwestern half of the coverage area. Think along and north of I-20. Those spots have the best possibility of seeing some breaks in the clouds, and breaks in the clouds will allow temperatures to fall a little bit more quickly, maybe even paving the way for some areas to drop below freezing tonight. In fact, the forecast kind of calls for that across southern Arkansas for at least El Dorado and some of the surrounding areas. Again, it's a big question mark. As we go beyond that, the cloud cover remains in place. I know you're probably thinking, high pressure at the surface, Jared, how does that work? Well, aloft, we're still getting that subtropical moisture that's funneling in up over that stationary boundary that will eventually kind of wander out into the northern Gulf. So the overrunning moisture may not be enough to generate rain, but it will still probably be enough to generate cloud cover. And the clouds are going to hang around through at least the early half of the weekend. It's going to take a cold front early Sunday morning to kind of wipe the slate clean, so to speak, and definitively get rid of the rain chances. The rain chances are very limited for Friday and Saturday, but they are in some regard, and there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding what we deal with on Friday. I think, for the most part, we're not going to see a lot of rainfall, but patchy drizzle and just overall damp, gross conditions probably going to linger, especially for the southern parishes and counties, through a good chunk of the day. Beyond that Sunday morning cold front, temperatures take a brief dip, skies clear, and then we should be on a warming trend by the middle parts of next week, and we do get quite the dry pattern to set up across the area. Good afternoon, Mr. Greg. Bobby, good afternoon. May, it's raining and cold in Marion. I believe you. I would never call you a liar, but I easily believe you today because it's doing that everywhere. Forecast rainfall over the next 2 days. Again, what we're going to see over the next 6 to 8 hours is generally going to dump maybe another quick quarter to a half inch of rain on some areas. I think that we're probably going to outperform that 1/10 of an inch of rain across Magnolia and Camden, maybe closer to a quarter of an inch of rain in some of those spots. But again, more is on the way in a scattered light form through the rest of the afternoon and evening hours. Rumble of thunder can't be ruled out, as well as daytime highs climb slowly into the low to mid-40s. A lot of us won't get to the mid-40s. A lot of us will stay in the upper 30s. In fact, I'm not overly optimistic now. I think we had our window of opportunity to see 46 at the Monroe Airport. I don't know if we're going to get there. Mid-30s for lows tonight, but it also depends on location. Clearing late could allow for some areas to push to near the freezing mark, especially across southern Arkansas, far northern Louisiana, the Mississippi Delta area. Not out of the question to see some 32s and 33s on the map. Winds will be out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. Again, not much of a warm-up on Friday. I've kept highs generally in the upper end of the 40s. Clipboard still on the floor. 47, 48, 49 in El Dorado, Monroe, and Natchez tomorrow. Back into the mid-50s on Saturday. Near 60 on Sunday. That front will kind of reset temperatures for the early parts of next week, but we get a little bit of sunshine, some cool mornings, some warm or mild-ish afternoons. Maybe back into the mid-60s by the end parts of next week. So change is afoot, or a hand, or a leg, whatever. But we're on the way to some changes as we go through the next week or so. Trending drier, but again, this rain has been very beneficial, and whatever totals we get, we should be able to manage those without any kind of flash flooding issues. No severe weather threats expected. Obviously, we're in the 30s and 40s, so that's not going to happen. Much needed and very welcome. A little bit of afternoon work. Going to get some graphics put together for our football forecast tomorrow. Those come out tomorrow afternoon. Fishing Game comes out later tonight, and I will join you for a live stream a little bit later today just to update the radar and a latest look at the forecast. Interactive radar and the latest forecast, which was just updated about a half hour ago, can be found at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app available for Apple and Android users. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to stay up to date with the forecast. Be safe on the roadways, be patient with other drivers, and I'll check in with you in a couple of hours. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank.